Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I am so excited. I'm really happy, and I just, I have you guys to thank for that. So I'll go into details like right now. So the first thing I'm grateful to you guys for is for the love you guys showed me on the last video that I put out, which is like 10 quick sewing projects to earn extra income. That one, you guys absolutely love that video. I really wasn't sure if you guys were going to like it, but my god, the response was overwhelming. Thank you guys so much. You guys are the absolute best. And the second thing, guys, we hit 10,000 subscribers. I cannot believe it. I can't believe it because I don't know if you guys understand, but I feel like this journey of DIY with So Unique by Adunni has been God all the way, because I started this channel. I actually opened it on the 12th of April 2020, which was just last year. It's not even a year yet, to be fair. It's only about 11 months now. And I did it because the pandemic came. I was idle, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this because it's just something that I've always enjoyed doing, teaching people. And I really didn't know what it was going to be, but then guys, look at it, we had 10,000 subscribers. So first of all, I am grateful to God Almighty, because I know that without His grace this wouldn't be happening. And then I am grateful to you guys. You guys are the most supportive people ever. I don't know what I did to deserve you guys, but thank you guys so much for the love. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for liking, for sharing, for retweeting my tweets, for sharing the links, for commenting, for giving me tips and feedback. You guys are the absolute best. Anyway, back to the introduction. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Ayotola, the creative director of So Unique by Adunni, and the content creator of this YouTube channel, DIY with So Unique by Adunni. And this channel was created just for you, to teach you loads of sewing crafts that you can do from the comfort of your home. If you're a returning subscriber, you guys already know how I feel about you. I love you guys so much, and I'm so grateful to you guys for your love and for your support. So today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to make this top. And if you haven't seen it properly, I'm just gonna step back and show off, because it's a party, guys. We hit 10,000 subscribers, so really it's a party. And then show you guys what this top looks like. So it's a double circle, it's a circle top really, but it's got like a double layer. So that's the first layer right here, and then that's the second layer. I can't leave this one up because if I lift it up, I'll be naked. So yes, it's a double layer flare top, and this is what it looks like behind as well. So I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make this top today. So if that's something that you're interested in seeing, definitely keep watching. It promises to be another fun and detailed tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do try it out, let me know. You guys know how to reach me. Send me a message on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to respond as soon as I can. Again, guys, thank you so much. I mean, people like Telma were popping Fanta. Telma told me to pop a bottle of Fanta, or I think she was popping a bottle of Fanta on my behalf. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for the love. I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to leave your comments, suggestions and feedback in the comment section below, and don't forget to stay safe, guys. Love you, and I'll see you in my next video.
Alright guys, so to start off, we're going to need the following items. You need your measuring tape, you need your fabric marker or tailor's chalk, you need some pins, you'd also need your fabric scissors, you wouldn't need your paper. I just want to use this to illustrate, so please, you don't need paper. You'd of course need your fabric. I've got about 2 yards of African print here. It's Ankara. I absolutely love this print, so I've got about 2 yards of this, and that's what we're going to be using for today's top. So before we get into it, we're going to be making a double layer circle top, and it's a spaghetti strap top. And when you say double layer circle top, you're talking about a flare. A double layer or circle is also known as a flare, and we're going to be making it a full circle. So I'm going to be focusing on how to draft or how to draw a full circle. And if you don't already know how to draw a full circle, I'm going to briefly explain. When you want to draw a full circle, you're going to need your fabric. So I'm assuming this piece of paper is my fabric. The first thing you want to do for a full circle is fold your fabric in half like that. So you fold your fabric into two. After doing that, you want to go ahead and fold it into two again, right? So you folded your fabric into a total of 4. Now, a flare can be attached to anywhere. A flare can be attached to to the above bust, which is what we're going to be doing today. It can be attached to a waist to give a peplum. A flare can be attached to the sleeves to give bell sleeves. It can be attached to the armhole to give butterfly sleeves. So really the possibilities or where you can attach a flare to are endless. So we're going to be assuming that for this piece of paper you want to attach your flare to for instance maybe to a waist, right? Obviously, because we're working with a miniature piece, we're going to be working with miniature measurements as well. So because this piece of paper has been folded into 4 and we want to cut a full flare, we're going to assume that the waist we need for our full flare is 20 centimeters. Okay, now how do we know what to draw around here? The waist radius, that's what it's called. How do we know the waist radius to use? We don't really know, but there's a formula for that. The formula to find out the waist radius you need for a full circle is the circumference. And when I say circumference, I mean where you want to put it. So whether you want to put it around the waist or around the bicep or around the bust area, that is the circumference around that area, right? The round measurement of that area. So you need the circumference divided by 2 pi. Okay? If you don't know what pi is 3.14. So the circumference divided by 2 pi rather will be the circumference divided by 6.28. If I'm correct, 3.14 times 2 is 6.28. So yes, I am correct. So again, the formula for the waist radius, if you can already see it, the formula for the waist radius is circumference measurement divided by 6.28. So using the example that I'm giving, rather in this case where I say that the circumference that we're using is 20 centimeter for this paper, I'm going to go into it for the fabric, but I want you guys to really understand what you're doing. So when we have a circumference of 20 centimeter and we use this formula, what we get as the waist radius is what we're going to mark here at the apex. So I'm going to do 20 divided by 6.28. I'm going to use my calculator real quick, and that gives us 3.18. So our waist radius in this case is 3.18. So what I'm going to do is from this apex right here, I'm going to mark 3.18 here, 3.18 here, 3.18 here, 3.18 here, 3.18 here, and draw an arc. That will be where I need to cut, and you guys will see how it makes sense soon. So I'm just going to go ahead with my measuring tape and mark 3.18. Right, done. I'm going to mark it here as well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mark it all around. You want to make sure you mark it all around. Okay, just mark it all around. You want to make sure that you mark it all around, keeping your measuring tape at the apex. It's very important that you do this. The measuring tape must be kept at the apex. It must not move. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark the 3.18 all around. So guys, as you can see, I don't know if you can see clearly, but if you can see what I'm doing clearly, you can see that I've kind of formed an arc, right? So I'm going to go ahead and link all the dotted lines together. Excuse my free hand, and I'm going to go and measure it. When you measure it, you should actually get 20. And when I say 20, not 20 immediately, but remember that this is 4 sheets. So if you're not sure, this is one layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, 4 layers. So whatever value you get here, you multiply it by 4, it should give you 20, meaning that we should get 5 centimeters here. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my measuring tape to check, and that is 5 centimeters exactly. That is 5 centimeters exactly, guys, meaning that it is correct. Okay, so what your waist radius does is it helps you to confirm the circumference that you need. So now that I have measured 5 centimeters exactly, and I'm sure it's correct, I can then go ahead and use my paper scissors. You don't want to use your fabric scissors to cut out my arc. Then after doing that, I can now determine the length that I want. Okay, so whether you want the length of this flare to be 5 inches or 4 inches or whatever, you measure out the length, and that's how you cut out a circle. So in this case, we're going to make the length 7 centimeters. So I go ahead and mark 7 centimeters all around. 7 centimeters all around, and then I go ahead and cut around my dotted lines. After cutting, I have myself a full circle, right? A full circle. So for today's work, what we're going to be doing is going to involve us cutting circles. We're going to be cutting 2 circles for our top, and one of the circles is going to be shorter than the other. So for the measurements that you need, I'll put them right there on the screen, the measurements you need. So we're going to just go out right ahead and get into the work for today. The first one is I'm going to be cutting my shorter circle, and because my total blouse length is about 23 inches, however, I'm not starting at the top, and because it's a spaghetti top, I would have to take away 7 inches from that because of where I wanted to start from. So 23 inches minus 7 would give me 16 inches. So my total blouse length is 16 inches. Okay, I'm going to add allowance for hemming, so that's an extra 1 inch. So my total blouse length is 17 inches. So what I've decided is for the first layer, I want my first layer to be 8 inches and then my second layer to be 9 inches. Okay, to be 16 inches. So what's going to happen is going to overlap. I'm going to have a short peplum on top and then the longer peplum beneath. So we can go ahead and cut out, you know, the long one first. What do you guys think? Let's see which one we can cut out first. Let's cut out the long one first, the bigger one. Okay, so as you can see, I've gone ahead to fold my fabric. This is me folding my fabric into 2 first. Then I'm going to fold it again one more time because we're cutting out a full flare, a full circle, a 360-degree circle. Remember that if we're not cutting a 360-degree circle, we will not be doing this. Okay, we'll be cutting out, we'll be using something a lot less, but we are cutting a 360-degree circle. This is why we are folding it into 4. If it was not a 360-degree circle, we would only be folding it into 2. So I hope that makes sense. So now that I've done this, I've folded it over. I'm just going to go ahead and make it longer because I know I need a lot, kind of a lot. Okay, I'm going to move that here so that I make sure that you guys can see clearly. Now remember that we've determined that the blouse length originally is 23 inches, but because it's a spaghetti top, it doesn't start from your shoulder. It starts from somewhere about here. Okay, not from the shoulder. It starts from like somewhere, I'm going to put it on the screen, from the above chest, right, or above bust. That's where it starts from. So because it starts from there, we're taking away 7 inches from the blouse length measurement. So we take away 7 minus 23 again, and that gives us 16. I add 1 inch, which is 17. So what I need totally will be 17. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fold this properly. So this looks fine, this looks fine, 17. Okay, so now that I have this folded, the first thing to do is to find the waist radius. Okay, now like I said, the formulas you need will be on the screen. And to find the waist radius, what circumference are we looking for? Where would this be sitting on our body? This is going to be sitting above the bust, so you need the measurement for the above bust circumference, and my above bust circumference is 34 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and use the formula, which is circumference divided by 2 pi. So if I do that and I do 34 divided by 2 pi, it's going to be on the screen. I'm going to have 5.4 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark 5.4 inches all around using my measuring tape. So again, I want you guys to pay attention to what I'm doing now with my measuring tape. I'm going to try and zoom this in so that you guys can see clearly. Okay, that's that. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom that in. So again, you want to go ahead and just confirm your measurements. The circumference in my case is 34, which is your above bust circumference, divided by 6.28, which is 2 pi, is 5.4. So I go with my chalk and I just mark 5.4 starting from the ape and just keep that like that, 5.4. So if you're not sure what to mark, because it's about, yeah, so just mark that like that. Yep, just go ahead, mark that here, go ahead, make sure you keep it at the apex, mark that here, go ahead, mark that here. You can go from this side as well, mark that here. You can go from this side next as well. You want to make sure that you keep your measuring tape at the apex, it's not moving. Because my table has like formica on the top, I can't use a thumbtack. But if your table is made of wood, what I would always advise would be to get one of this thumbtacks and then just, oops, yikes, sorry, and then just kind of like, you know, pin this down to the table, but because mine isn't made of wood, I cannot do that. It's going to like break my table. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, moving on. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish marking my 5.4 real quick. Okay, now that I've marked that all around, remember what I said, because this is 4 layers, as you can see, this is a folded layer, this is another folded layer, it's a total of 4 layers. When I measure it, I should be able to get whatever value I get. When I multiply that value by 4, I should get 34 inches. Okay, so let's go ahead and measure it, guys. As you can see, I've not checked it out before, so I'm going to do that with you. So I am getting, let's see what we're getting. I'm getting 9. Okay, 9. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my calculator and just do 9 times 4, and that's giving me 36. So that's a little bit more, because that's because I actually approximated to 5.5. really I should be doing 5.4. so I'm going to go ahead and try and, you know, do 5.4. I'll make it in between, so it's a bit hard because this is 5.375 and this is 5.5. so I'll try and do in between 5.375 and 5.5, just to make sure that we get the right thing, because you also need it to be accurate. Okay, so I'll just kind of keep it just a little bit in between. It's just a little bit of an adjustment, really. It's just gonna, but it goes a long way really when you're working with flares. So but guys, can you see how much difference it is? Now I have 8.75. So all I do is carry my calculator and I do 8.75 times 4. And guys, now I have 35, which is fine for me. So I've gone ahead to get my waist arc, right? The waist radius area. So right now, this is the part that will be above my bust. Okay, so I'm going to zoom this out. So right now, this is the part that will be above my bust. This is where it's going to be sitting, and this is the larger one. So now I'm going to go ahead and mark the length. And remember, the length that we need for this is 17 inches, okay, including the allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 17 inches. Luckily for us, we have up to 17 inches here. So starting from this arc, I'm going to mark 17 inches right here. I'm going to mark 17 inches all around. Okay, if you need to pin, please go ahead and pin. Make sure you have everything pinned properly. Alright guys, so now that I have my big flare, this is what the big flare looks like. As you can see, it's a complete circle when I open it up, but I wouldn't open it up just yet because we need it for the second circle. So I'm going to just put this aside, but you can see this is what it looks like, and as you can see, it's a full flare. Now the thing about flares is, if in case at any point guys, if you ever have to reduce the length of your flare, never ever cut it from the top. If your intention is to reduce the length of your flare, you want to cut it from the bottom. If your intention, however, is to increase the circumference at the top, then you cut it from the top. The moment you cut to the top of a flare, the only thing you're doing is increasing the circumference. Of course, it reduces the length, but it makes the circumference a lot wider. So again, remember, if your intention is to reduce the length of a flare, it's best to do that from the bottom. Alright guys, so after cutting out the first flare, which is this one, we're going to go ahead and cut out the shorter flare. So I'm going ahead to fold the fabric again into 4, just like I was saying. And just in case you didn't know, if you're one of those people that when you take your outfit to the tailor, you tell them that they've used your fabric, cutting out a circle actually does take a lot of fabric. As you can see, this fabric, what's left is obviously useful, but it was going to make my second flare shorter, so I just decided to go for some more fabric that I already had in the house. So I'm just going to go ahead and place this right here. You must make sure that they align, because you don't want it bigger or smaller or anything. So you want to make sure that it's equal, just right here. If you need to pin, go ahead and pin. I don't need to pin, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. using the big one or the first one as a template. After I've done that, I can pull this over and then I can measure out the length that I want. And I don't know if you remember, but I said that the length I want for the shorter one would be 8 inches. Okay, 8 inches. So go ahead and mark out the 8 inches length that you want, or you can even do, yeah, because you're going to be hemming as well, you can add an extra 1 inch, so that's 9 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 9 inches out. After cutting it off, you are nearly finished. Okay, I'm going to put this aside, and the next thing to do will be to cut out 2 strips of fabric. So this kind of comes into good use. You want them about 20 inches. Excuse me. So yeah, this comes into good use. So you cut out 2 strips of fabric that are about 20 inches long and about 2 inches wide, so that you can pipe it. I'm going to straighten this out because I don't like the fact that it has curved edges. So yeah, we have that. These 2 strips will be what we use for the strap. I'm going to mark the wrong side so that I know the wrong side of the fabric. So the first thing that you do is to go pipe out this fabric. And when I say pipe, what I mean is very easy. You want to fold this in like that. You want to fold that in as well like that, and then you want to fold all of them over. So if you don't know what I mean, I'm going to zoom that so I can see. When you want to pipe, what you want to do is you want to fold this in just like that. You want to fold that in like that, and then you want to go ahead and pipe it. You want to make it as thin as possible, and you want to pipe both of them all the way. All right guys, so after making the straps, this is what the straps look like. All I did was I just piped it, you know, like I showed you, and I made it really long, but I only need about 15 inches or 14.5 to 15 inches because I've measured out, you know, what my strap length would be. So the next thing to do is you want to grab your flare pieces or your circle pieces. This is the longer piece, right? So for the longer piece, what I always advise that you do, or what I would say you should do, is you want to turn the longer piece to the right side. So again, if you're not sure, what I normally do is when cutting, I always put like a mark. So this mark here shows me that this is the wrong side. So you want to flip it over to the right side. Okay, you want to lay it on the table, flip it over to the right side, lay it on the table and flip it over to the right side. So this is the right side of my circle, and then you want to go ahead and get the shorter one. Now it gets a bit tricky here, but you guys can get it. What you want to do is you want to place the shorter circle inside the bigger circle. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the bigger circle so you can see, just like that, it's opened up. You want to place the shorter one inside it. Now you remember we have the right side here. You want to make sure that the right side, again I've marked the wrong and the right side, this is the X mark. You want to make sure that the right side of the smaller circle is touching the wrong side. So that means the right sides are both in the same direction. This is the right side of this, this is the wrong side of this. The right side of the smaller circle is against the wrong side of the bigger circle. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and you want to pin it together. And just in case that's a bit confusing for you, what that does is when you're done sewing this on this, you know, sewing this here, it will flip over and just look neatly like this and have the you can see that that's how it's going to look. So I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, arrange all of that so that you have 2 circles that fit each other. So that's how it should look like. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this all around, pin it all around. After doing that, what you want to do next is you want to go ahead and just hold it together in place just like that. You want to make sure that it's flat, place it in place, you know, just arrange everything like that. After doing this and you're happy with the results, go ahead and fold this into 2 so that you can notch the center. Go ahead and fold this into 2 so you can notch the center. So this is the center. You want to notch all 4 pieces like that after folding it. And then from that center, you want to go ahead and mark 4.5 inches. And why I say 4.5 inches, well, it could be more. So what you want to do is you basically need your bust point as a point of reference. For me, my bust span, which is the position or the length from my bust point to the second bust point, or from the first nipple to the second nipple, is about 8 inches, right? So for me, half of that is 4. I like to add half an inch, so that's half an inch to the measurement. So for instance, if your bust span is 10 inches, I expect that you use 5.5. So from this middle point, you want to go ahead and mark out your bust point, and in my case is 4.5. So I mark 4.5 like that and 4.5 like that. After marking the 4.5 in both positions, I'm going to flip this over so you guys can see correctly, or see clearly rather. After marking that, I'm going to go ahead and insert my strap. I'm going to insert my strap by going in between the short and the long layer. Can you see that? In between that, like that, that's in between. Pin that in position. Hold it together with a pin, just like that. Do the same thing for this other side. You want to slot the strap in between, so that it's sandwiched in between the first and the second layer, and you want to go ahead and pin it into place. After pinning it into place, the next thing to do is go and sew it into place. Now, because we have to add the strap to the back, I cannot sew the whole thing. I'm just going to sew from somewhere here on half an inch all the way till I get past the second strap. So again, if you don't understand, I'm going to sew from somewhere here, the side, all the way till I get past the second strap, and then I'll come back and show you guys where we're at. All right guys, so after sewing, as you can see, I didn't sew the whole lot. I left this side unsewn because I need to put the strap. But after sewing this side with the strap, and this is what it looks like, this side with the strap, this is what it looks like basically. So I've taken out the pins in that area, so this is what it looks like at the moment. So you have this as the right side, right, and then you have this strap. So the next thing to do is to insert the strap into the other parts. So if you're not sure how, I'm just going to show you, turn all of this right. We're going to flip all of this to the right side, just like that. And then we have this. So, oops, sorry guys. Yeah, this is the right side. So as you can see guys, this is the right side. And like I said, we've sewn all of these areas, but we haven't sewn the back yet. So at this point where we have the back, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess of my strap. Like I said, I only need about 14.5. So I'm going to leave 15 inches from where it's sewn. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 15 inches, or even 14 actually. I'll do 14.5. So I've done 14.5. Cut that off right there. I'm going to do another 14.5 right here, just there. 14.5. I'll cut that off as well. Guys, you need to make sure you measure. It's better to leave excess, but I have measured mine, so I kind of know where I want to be. And then you gently just insert that in between so that it doesn't confuse you. Okay, so now we can go back to how we were. Now that I've inserted it, this is where the straps are, so we can go back to how we were. This is it. Okay, again, you want to find the notch point. I found the notch point, and from the notch point you want to mark 4.5 inches, which is kind of like where the strap goes. So this is where the notch is here. This is where the notch is here. So again, you want to mark 4.5 and then pin the strap down there. So from this point, I'm going to mark my 4.5 inches. Just pin that together. I'm going to mark 4.5 inches. Just like that. 4.5 inches. And at that point, I'm going to just pin my strap. So you want to make sure your strap is not tangled. So I'm going to pin the strap just like that to that point. Again, you want to make sure your strap is not tied to it. So before I pin it, I'm going to go ahead and hold it together and see it properly, just to make sure it's not tangled. So as you can see, it is tangled. So I'm going to go ahead and trace that as it should be. I don't want any tangled strap. So this is how my strap should be, and I can see it's not tangled. So now that I've checked that it's not tangled, I can pin that in place. So I'll go ahead and pin my strap in place. I didn't leave any excess, but the strap is there. Pin my strap in place. And I'm going to repeat this on the other side as well. So if you don't remember, again, you want to push all of this inside so it's not confusing. This is where we stopped earlier. This is where my last stitch stopped. So I'm going to go ahead and just stitch it all around right now on 1/2 inch sewing allowance, making sure to lock the parts with the strap in. All right guys, so after sewing it all around, this is what it looks like. I went all around and sewed it. I've sewed it together on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. As you can see, this is the notch that we made earlier, here and here, and we have the straps 4.5 inches away from the notch. And when you flip this up over to the right side, this is actually what you have. It looks really nice. It looks really nice. We have just a couple of finishing touches to do, just so that your flare sits nicely. What I like to do is I like to go ahead and notch it all around the circle, but this is what it looks like. So just go ahead and give it a notch all around this circle before you flip it over to the right side, just so that it's, you know, it stays nicely and all of that. And then give it a good iron. Hem the bottom if you want to hem, or overlock with your whipping machine if you have one. Alright guys, so we've come to the very end of this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching guys. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it was worth your while. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to leave your comments, suggestions and feedback in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much once again, and I will see you in my next video. Till then, stay safe.